Hey guys, we're going to do a springtime weaving thing today. So if you can find a light blue piece of paper, that works pretty good for this. Mine is 9 by 12, okay? And we're going to fold it in half one time so that the spine is here on the left side, and I actually want the spine to be on the bottom of the page, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line across the top, and then I'm going to divide this up into 8 sections, okay? You don't necessarily need a ruler for this, okay? But sometimes it helps, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line across the top, okay? And it's really not necessary that it's perfectly straight, okay? But if you want to use a ruler for it, you can. And then I'm going to divide this in half. So I'm going to draw a line here down the middle, and then I'm going to divide this section in half as well, okay? And then I'm going to divide this section in half, okay? So now I'm into fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you want them to be close, but again, they don't have to be completely perfect. If you want to measure everything out with your ruler, that's fine, but it's not necessary, okay? Then I'm going to divide that in half, divide this in half, and divide this in half, okay? And I'll divide this one in half too, okay? And so if we were in the classroom, we'd put our name on it here, right? And then we know that's the back. We don't want to see that. And then I like to number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 so that you know what I'm talking about when we start doing the weaving part, right? Then you're going to take your scissors out. And even though the lines didn't need to be perfectly straight, the cuts need to be as smooth as you can make them, okay? So you want to cut all the way along that line and stop right at that line that you made at the top of the paper. You don't want to stop before it, okay? And you don't want to go too far past it either, okay? If you go way too far past it, you'll cut through everything. And notice that I didn't unfold my paper, so I'm cutting 2 layers of paper at the same time here, okay? So I'm going to cut all the way up to that line and just let my scissors snip and end right at that very last part, okay? So we're going to add that little snip there, and we'll be good, okay? So when we unfold this, then we've got a whole loom made, L-O-O-M, loom, okay? Which is what we can make our weaving on, okay? Then you're going to need several strips of white paper. So they're the same width as my paper. They could be a little bit wider if you want them to be, and then they would stick out from the edge. It might make it a little easier for the weaving. You could trim them off later. But mine are the same width, and they're about 1 inch. I measured them. You could just fold the paper up and cut the strips. Again, they don't have to be perfectly straight, but if you want to worry about it a whole bunch, that's fine, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start weaving these through, okay? And the way this works is I'm going to go under 1 and over 2, and then under 3 and over 4, under 5 and over 6, under 7 and over 8, okay? And then I'm going to push that up to the top, okay? Now I've covered up my numbers, so if you want to remember which numbers are which, you can write them up here above at the top too. That might help you, okay? But after you get this, hopefully you won't be using the numbers anymore. You'll just understand the pattern, okay? So then what we're going to do to make this work is we went under 1 the first time, so we're going to go over 1 this time and under 2, and over 3 and under 4, and over 5 and under 6, and over 7 and under 8, okay? And then if we push this up, okay, it should lock into place, okay? So it'll slide up until it hits those other ones, and then it won't go any farther. And you'll know you've done it right because it'll have this checkerboard pattern where the white squares are diagonal from each other, okay? And so then we're just going to repeat over and over. So this time we went over 1, so now we'll go under 1 and over 2. And we're just going to continue that weaving part until we've gotten everything figured out. Now, you might end up doing something wrong here, okay? And let me show you. It's not a big deal, okay? It's easily fixed, but if I'm under here and I accidentally go under again, then at first glance it might look like everything's okay, but when I try to slide this up, this will actually just slide on top of the other one and sort of disappear. So that's not what we want. And so you just need to pull that one out and try again, which means it was under the 1 this time. So you got to start and go over the 1, okay? And so you're just going to keep weaving until you have gotten all of those woven to the end. So let me finish that close to the end, and I'll come back and show you what to do after that. Okay, so I'm almost done. So I'm going to try to finish this up and see if we can get 2 more in here, or if we're only going to be able to get 1 more in. Let's just find out what we can do here. Okay, so I think we might be able to squeeze 2 more in, but if we can't, it's not that big a deal. I'll show you what we're going to do next time. Okay, so I've stacked those all up there, and it's going to be pretty tight here at the end, but I think I can make this work, so let's see what happens. Okay, this will be the hardest one, okay, because the weaving has kind of locked all of the other pieces of paper together. If you're having trouble, okay, getting it through, sometimes it's easier to flip the paper over and then press it through that way, especially if you're getting stuck here at the end, because you can't really lift up the paper on the loom, on the blue paper, like you were able to before, since everything's kind of locked into position. Okay, looks like I could just barely do it. Okay, so it worked out for me. I got it taken care of. So this is still the back that has our name on it, and this is still the front where we've got this ready to go. Okay, so if you don't want things to come apart, then you might want to take a glue bottle or a glue stick and just sneak a dot of glue under each of those flaps there, and then you won't have any trouble with it coming apart. Although probably not going to have any trouble with that anyway, but sometimes the flaps will come loose, or they'll fall underneath the outside edges. So if you're going to glue anything down, it's those edges there, okay? And it's helpful to do it on the back side as well. So we'll glue all these things down, and we'll call that part 1, okay? Getting everything ready together. And then next time, let's talk about what we're going to do to make this into a springtime picture, okay? You might think about it right now. What are some things that you think about when you think about springtime, right? When you think about springtime, what happens in nature, what holidays usually show up around springtime, what can you add if you wanted to make a picture about springtime on your weaving? All right, so that's part 1. Come back later for part 2, and we'll add something else to this picture. All right, see you guys later. Bye-bye.